Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 238. In this episode, I'm going to share 3 reasons why Ann Hince is so badass. If you missed the last episode, Ann has developed the ability to sense inside her body and release physical tension stored in connective tissue using the focus of her mind. And so she has x-rays to prove the physical changes that she has experienced. And she said at 55 years old, she grew half an inch and she completely changed her lower jaw and her tooth roots. And then, And then she just wants us to know, like, the incredible power that you have within you. So this episode is a lot about spirituality, or last episode was a lot about spirituality and tapping and that kind of thing. She talked about tapping in a way I hadn't heard before. So if you're at all interested in learning about EFT tapping, go back, listen to the last episode. Otherwise, we will get started here with the 3 reasons Ann Hince is so badass. So before we do that, I want to know, are you in the Ordinary to Badass Facebook group yet? On Facebook, it's actually the Ordinary to Badass Facebook community. So go onto Facebook, join that group. Monday nights, we're going to have conversations. Some of them might relate to the podcast. Some nights I'll go live. Other times I'll just pop a video in there. Just like a little hack or a tip, something that's going to help you take tiny steps, right? It's nothing big we're trying to change, but it is so awesome to have the conversations and see what other badasses are doing and what's working for them. So like your feedback is also amazing to say, hey, that's a good idea, Marie, but this worked for me. I'm open to hearing your ideas. And I think that that's where we grow a lot of times, is when we hear from other people different ideas or what's working for them, and then we can try it. And maybe they're doing something similar to you, or I'm doing something similar to you, or somebody else in the group is doing something similar to you, but it's just one small tweak. And you hear it from a different person, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Have you ever experienced that before? Like one teacher tells you something and keeps explaining it, and it's like beating your head up against a wall and it's not really helping you. And then somebody else says something so like simple and it's an immediate response. And you're like, oh yeah, I get it. Okay, that was easy. Why didn't the first teacher just say it that way? But it's like we all learn differently. So head on over to the Ordinary to Badass Facebook community. Join today if you're not a part of it. Otherwise, Monday nights, I want you to be a part of these conversations because our group is super special and I know that there's so much growth that can come from it. With that, let's get to the episode. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I am so glad you're here. Today, we're doing a recap of last week, but it's not last week's episode. A recap of Monday's episode, why Ann Hince is so badass. You're going to hear the 3 reasons why she's so badass. So I'm going to tell you what the 3 are and then get right into it. So Ann Hince is so badass because she stopped listening to her dad. 2, she changed her signal. And 3 is her triggers. She seeks triggers. So stop listening to her dad. Now you might think, oh, I stopped that long ago, but did you? Many of us do not stop listening to our parents. We listen to them even when we think we are not, when we're grown adults and we're like, I can do what I want to do. It's my decision. oftentimes we're still listening to the voice of our parents. And maybe you say you knew your parents for a little bit and then you were adopted and left that house, but you don't hear their physical voice. But you know what you probably do hear? The negative thoughts in your head, stuff that you heard from teacher, from parents, from adults when you were growing up, and it got in your head. And so Anne was saying that she was talking down to herself. She was being just mean to herself. And then one day she realized, wait a minute, I recognize that voice. That's the voice of my dad. And so that negative voice in her head, and a lot of times it is the negative voice in her head, or the voice that's preachy, or we should do this, the things that we think we should do, or when we're just mean to ourselves and negative. Have you heard it before? Is some version of that what your parent used to say to you? It's important to reflect on. We think we have all these original thoughts, these original ideas, but really it's passed down from generation to generation. So these voices you're hearing in your head, stop listening to them. Chances are you've moved out of your parents' house, right? So you don't have to listen anymore. You could say, oh, thanks for your input, but I'm going to go this way. Or I think I know what'll work for me, right? We don't have to repeat these thoughts that really don't even belong to us. Just because we heard somebody else say them does not mean that they are ours. We take ownership of them. We start to think like, oh, they have to be, it's in my head. But the truth is we hear it. We hear it growing up, and then it becomes a record in our head. And we'll get more to the whole record thing in a minute, or like a record on repeat. We'll get back to that. But really, the things that we're hearing are often stuff we've heard before, and we heard it from somebody else, and then we adopted it as our own. Listen, we don't need to be adopting these unwanted babies, these unwanted, mean things we're saying to ourselves. Yes, not real babies, but the thought babies, the ones we had from childhood. We don't need to be adopting those. We can just send them on their way. Or same with your parents. Okay, you moved out, right? You moved on. So you don't have to take their line of thinking. If it is not serving you and it's not helping you and it makes you feel crappy about yourself, you don't have to subscribe to it. Hit unsubscribe. Choose that you are not going to do this. This is not, it's not your jam, right? We really have to be intentional about our thoughts, our badassery, like the things that we're saying to ourselves in our head. It can absolutely affect you feeling like a badass or not. So we have to be intentional about cutting that shit out. If it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't align with you, then stop saying it to yourself. And you know what? Nobody's perfect. It's always going to probably be a work in progress, right? And even if you think like, oh, I'm on top of my game, I am working on my thoughts, I am doing good, something else will sneak in at some point. So it's always a constant journey, something that we are working on. But Anne's self-awareness really blew me away, that she had the self-awareness to realize like, oh, wait, is that my thought? Nope, that's my dad's. So send it packing, send it on its way. You can take it back to your dad's house, right? Drop that off, because nobody needs to be carrying that around. It's like luggage, and it just starts to weigh you down. So it's okay. Stop listening to your parents, stop listening to that voice, or identify it. I think even just the step of identifying it is huge, huge. Because if you can identify it and say, oh, yeah, hey, Dad, what's going on? Hey, Mom, I hear you. Just identifying it, I think, will make it a little bit lighter, because you're realizing, wait, yeah, it's not my voice. It's not something that I would say. That's a phrase I don't usually say, but it's something that my parent always said. So it's just identifying it can make a big shift for you. So if, it seems like a lot of work to talk back to it, to do all these things, nope, just identify it. I think that's huge. All right. Second reason why Ann Hince is so badass. Ann changed her signals. So you might be saying, Marie, what does that even mean? Tell me. So she changed her signals. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza, huge fan of him. If you have not read his books, go get them, grab them all. Like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is my favorite. And I will tell you that I'm not a science girl at all. And there was a bit of sciencey stuff in it, but I love that book. It had so much truth and so much good stuff about what goes on inside of us, like your biology and how it affects how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you reflect the outside world, and how to change your signal. So Joe Dispenza says cells that fire together wire together. So this means that the more we start thinking a thought, we think it over and over and over, right? The more likely it is to become a habit. And then that habit is really hard to break. So we have to be aware of, well, we don't have to, but if you would like to change the signal you're putting out, if you'd like to change the negativity or whatever your thing is, the anxiety, the down stuff, like the downtime when you're feeling depressed, you want to change that? Cool. I love it. Welcome to the work, right? So if you want to change that, then you have to start looking at the thoughts that you're thinking, because you think one thought and it turns into like you going down a whole rabbit hole. And 90% of your thoughts that you think are the same thoughts as yesterday. It's like, right? Mind blown. 90% of the thoughts you think are the same thoughts as yesterday. So that's why it is so important to pay attention to the signals we're putting out, to the thoughts we're putting out. Like realize what we're putting out into the world. Because if 90% of our thoughts are the same and we're not ever thinking anything different, and our thoughts are negative or beating ourselves up, remember I talked about that record, the record being on repeat, then it just goes round and round. It seems to go in a circle. And so Ann said she learned how to change her signal to be peaceful. She wanted a peaceful future. So she learned how to change that signal. And she also learned how to change the signal. So like it changed like her jaw, changed her eyes, changed a bunch of different things about her physical appearance, because she was emanating a different signal. Now, Ann said that she is a big fan of tapping. So it's like where you like tap your head, tap your forehead, under your eyes here, under your nose, your chin, your chest, and it could even be under your armpits. And she started tapping because she knew she was hearing the voice of her dad. She did not like it. She didn't want to keep talking to herself that way. So she went to a doctor to get some help. And that's where she learned EFT tapping, and it completely changed her life. So you're not required to stay the same. You are not required to stay the same. You're not required to know all the answers. Just do you. Keep working. Like all you can do is start right now. If you don't have the answers, then you can start searching for them. Maybe you start listening to Ann Hince, or you grab her book. And I can't think of the name right now, unfortunately, but maybe you grab her book, or you grab Joe Dispenza's book, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And you just start a journey. There are a ton of books that can help you to change your signal. And it's nothing that's going to happen overnight. It's a journey. It's a long time thing, right? A trajectory that we're on. But it's like, also, we want things to be quick. We want things to be easy, but how freaking boring would it be if we did the same dang thing every time? If we just hit a milestone and then, nope, I'm good to go. I'm confident for life. Or I don't need to do any more work on myself. Good for life. Well, then life would probably get pretty boring. It wouldn't be as exciting if everything was just perfect and the same every day. So it takes work. It takes energy to change your signal. A lot of times we think, well, I'm getting older. Now that I'm 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever years old, 30, it doesn't matter how, now that I'm this age, I should know, like I'm pretty set in my ways by now. I don't think I could change. We think these thoughts. It doesn't mean that they're true. You can always change your signal. It is never too late. But you just have to start. So these things that you're thinking start to become things that you're emitting out into the world. They're things like, it's the energy, right? And I'll tell you, I wanted to believe it. I had some skepticism, but like I had back pain. I had really bad back pain. Like it was crippling. And it took a long time to move on out of that, right? And yes, I still have it from time to time, but man, I felt like a 90-year-old woman because it was just hard to walk and my back hurt constantly. And I always had a heating pad on at night. There was just a bunch of things going on. And it was hard to not think, because I always wanted to think like, oh, my back hurts, my back. How many times a day did I think about how my back hurt? And it's like, that thought was bringing it to reality. Now, yes, there are other things that were going on, but man, I started to try not to think about it or to not focus on the pain, because it can just be easy to be like all consumed by the pain. And when, like once you like scrape your elbow or get injured just a little bit, then you just keep focusing on it and it's just a teeny tiny thing. And you're like somehow so focused on that injury, even if it's small. Well, the more we focus on it, the more it grows. So focus on the things you want in life, not on the things you don't want. But it is epic that Ann was able to change her signal, because that is a tough feat, or it just takes commitment. I don't know if it's tough, but it takes commitment, time commitment, putting in the work day in and day out. So I love that Ann changed her signal. Very badass of her. And let's get to the third thing. The third reason why Ann Hince is so badass is because of how she seeks triggers. I don't know about you, but I am tempted to run away from triggers. I don't love them. Who likes feeling triggered? Not me. But to like seek them, to go and say, I'm going to find what triggers me today, and I am going to do the work around that. That's hard. So then you have to really start looking at the emotion behind it, how you're feeling. And she was saying, like, don't deny the emotion. You really got to feel it. You got to go through it. And so many people deny the emotion. They try to push it aside and ignore it. I think I'm gonna have to get a drink really quick here. I feel like I was gonna start coughing. Hopefully this holds off. But we push aside those emotions, ignore it, try to power through, but that doesn't ever really get rid of the emotions. They just stay there, hidden, packed up, one on top of another, right? And they're just waiting there to be uncovered. And then it's like harder every time that situation comes up where you're triggered and you ignore it, it becomes harder and harder to get rid of it, because you're going to have to do the work. It's like a scab. And maybe maybe the scab turns into a scar, and then it's one scar on top of another. So you have scar tissue and it's hard on you. So these emotions, we got to deal with them. And no, I'm not preaching. It's a work in progress for me. So I love that Ann's able to seek triggers. I'm not there yet, but it's still something we can work on, right? What if we seek out the triggers as opposed to dodging them, as opposed to hiding from them? I know a lot of times when we're doing something, we avoid the negative and only want the positive, right? We only want the good thing, the like reward. So that's normal to want the reward. But it's like there's a hidden reward behind the triggers. There's a hidden reward. And so it's like, if we can face our emotions, face our triggers, and then move beyond that, then you're going to find the reward. It just takes some work, and it takes sitting with your pain, sitting with your triggers, and doing the work. Doing the work. So, are you doing the work? Are you paying attention to the things that trigger you? What if the things that trigger you are actually not even about the other person? They're about you. You. Sorry for a little hard truth there. We don't always like to hear when we have to work on something or that it's about us, right? It's easier to put the blame on somebody else. But usually when we're triggered, it is all about us. It's about you. So when I'm being bothered by something, probably some of my childhood or my life situations that brought it up and triggered it, something about my experiences that it say it's a bad thing or it's an annoying thing, right? And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but usually when we're triggered by something, it's ourself, it's us and our experiences, but we want to put it on the other person. So I'm going to challenge you to notice your triggers. You don't even have to do anything about it yet. Nothing. Just notice them. Go, hey, trigger, what's going on? Just notice it. I think that we all have to start somewhere, and it doesn't have to be a change overnight. It's these small incremental steps. And it's these teeny tiny steps of the everyday that makes like the dream of your life. It helps you to get to your dream life because you're taking these tiny steps, and it's these micro steps that help us get the big vision that we want. So just start small. All right. Quick recap. 3 reasons why Ann Hince is so badass. 1 is that she stopped her dad, or she stopped listening to her dad. 2 is she changed her signal. And 3 is she seeks out triggers. So, did you love this episode? Did you love Ann's episode? If so, I would be so grateful if you headed on over to iTunes and left a 5-star rating and review. Every single review helps. Every rating helps. Listen, I love this podcast. I love chatting with you, but I would love for other people to hear about it too. Badasses just like you. And so give a rating and review or share it with a friend, just somebody that you think could find it useful, find it helpful. And I would be so honored by that. All right. With that, let's end our show. Tell the badass woman out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.